nothing but a thing. But it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elson McGee, your host, and I'm here with my brother in Christ and troublemaker in the community, Tony. My brother Tony Mary. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Brother, I'm so I ain't gonna say stressed out. I'm just keyed up, right? I'm keyed up because I'm looking at the Camp Lujune stuff on top of all this other stuff that's taking place, and I just know too many of those Marines that was exposed with the contaminated water and sick and ain't getting paid. You know, it just bothers me because, you know, I watched the Agent Orange stuff roll out pretty much the same way. The guys that started the movement that all of us, the rest of us, joined in to push through, all of them died before they got paid. Yeah. Before they could get, but then we did get a disability out of it. But that's just the fact that, and this Camp Lujune stuff, I'm gonna call Bruce in a minute if I can get him on the phone, and get him to talk. Now he keep talking about they agreed to give him a $1.some million back pay, but they ain't gave him nothing yet. You know, they keep say they're gonna pay him, and then something else come up because the Department of Navy is handling the stuff because it's the tort claim part. It's not the disability, right? Now, most of the guys that got disabilities, they got severe problems, man. Mm-hmm. You know one of our brothers, Bernard Hodo. He is, going through stuff, all kind of different things, all kind of different surgeries, and they still ain't paying the guys with the tort claim part of it. You know, because like Bruce and Bernard, most of them are already 100% because they got conditions that done riddle their body, done toe up their health. Yep. And you know, like I got to salute all them brothers, man, because they've been fighting hard, but I'm seeing them getting sick and getting worse. And, you know, being a claim person that help veterans with claim, it bothers me because we seeing too many of our generation die out before they get their claims through. And now we got, I'm gonna be respectful, Tony. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna just say, this president. President. I don't even consider him a real commander-in-chief because of what he is doing with the military. You know, not only is he cutting benefits for military veterans with mental problems. Now, we know personally because we've been working with Tony Bardell in Frontline Ministry, 17, and what they're saying 17 to 22 veterans are committing suicide. These are young folks going into the military and coming out and going to the VA. One of them went to the VA and committed suicide. And some of these guys have been doubly exposed. They was at Camp Lujune, then they went to other parts of the world. Some of them were burn pits, some of them radiation, all kind of stuff that the civilian population never think about when they say thank you for your service.
Exactly.
They don't have a clue of what kind of service that most of, well, not everybody. Now let me say that everybody that go in the military are not exposed to hazardous duties, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, those that are exposed to the hazardous duty make up the disability grid of the VA. You know, these are the people that go to the VA because they got ailments that was caused by their military service. And this man is fine, folks, at the VA. It was already crippled because the number of veterans now that go to the VA, and a lot of people don't want to hear this. Really, they don't want to hear this, but the VA was not created for all veterans. It was just created for those veterans that had disabilities coming out the military service or incurred ailments that would eventually become disabilities, right? But business folks, they made it like an HMO. You can go to the VA if you're a veteran, no matter what, and you get a discount medical care. You got a co-payment, just like you would go to a Kaiser and in these other medical centers.
Yeah.
The Congress it need to do something about that. Really, the Congress can do something about that. They created the VA. They can create vouchers for veterans to go to other medical centers that they pay for.
Yes. Yeah.
Other than the VA, so that VA will be equipped to do what it was mission to do. You know, it was mission to take care of disabled veterans, and we see them like Bruce. I'm gonna see, can I get Bruce on the phone, because I wanted him to talk to us today about the Camp Lujune stuff, because he's a brother that was in it, and he know more about Camp Lujune probably than any one veteran that I know of. But you know, he got some issues, and we need to talk to him about it, because
0 6 6 7 1 8 7 2 9 is not available.
Okay, so we won't talk with the Bruce today. But what we got to do is really focus community attention on the Camp Lujune issue. I mean, because the U.S. military, 5 branches, well, there's 6 branches now, normally function like one hand.
Yeah.
We're together like one hand, and we know that in service, right? But now, what we are up against is that a house divided against itself will not stand.
Yes.
And what the government, especially, well, Democrats too, both of these parties right now are causing divisions in our community, and especially in the veteran population. Yeah, they're causing the political divisions, right?
Yeah.
We can see that how this man had the military parade that turned out to be a fluke. This is a total fluke, because he wanted to demonstrate with the military that he wouldn't go in to serving him.
Yep.
And I think right now the Democrats, you know, need to take a real look at what they're doing politically, because I don't reach the point like what Malcolm had reached. You know, even though both of these parties, we're caught between a rock and a hard place, we are caught in a predicament where we got to go with the lesser of the two evils. Really.
Yeah. And that's something that, as an American, we should not have to choose. We shouldn't even have to consider anything less than the best, because we gave the best, and so we deserve the best.
Tony, you know, every time I think about it, you know, I get to thinking about what we've been doing and how long it took to get this memorial up and moving.
Yep.
The education, lack of people perish for the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't have the knowledge in our community because we got so many distractions. And then we got people come in, they're gonna tell us about us.
Yeah.
You know, instead of listening to us, learning of us, and then they can actually represent and help us. But most people come into, I just got off the phone with a lady. All she was talking about was she thought we was having some activities. She wanted to come in and tell us about health care. We need the information about health care, but where she's selling products. You know, so everybody looking at us as a marketplace rather than as people, patrons, citizens that have served this country and make sure that the opportunities that all of us have, we have. Now they have separated us to the point that these people are trying to take away the accomplishments that we have made over the years. Now, if you look at taking away mental health, you know, the funding for mental health.
Yeah.
Every day in this country, every given day in this country, there are over 250,000 veterans homeless. And I'm telling you, most of them have mental problems that was incurred by military service.
Yes.
And we're gonna step back as a veteran community, right? Knowing that these are our brothers and sisters. knowing that some of us right there with them, and they won't stand together because of toxic politics and racism, just pure and simple. You know, the only reason that they dragging the Camp Lujune stuff and put it in the Navy because we didn't have enough backing to make them put it in the VA the way it should have been. And as the month of Marines get ready to celebrate their anniversary, we're going to stand up with them. We're going to stand up for them, and we're going to make people know that these brothers and sisters exposed drinking that contaminated water at Camp Lujune, they tried for years to get them to recognize it, and they just fought it off.
Yep.
After they recognizing it now, they ain't doing nothing about it. It's a shame that we don't have the knowledge of thank you for your service, what the service we're thanking people thanking us for. They need to look at it and stop being judgmental about the conditions and look where they come from. They came from serving to have the freedoms and opportunities that we got in this country now. We got more than we ever had, Tony, and we are worse than we ever been. So we got to make sure that people understand when we say we're doing more than building a memorial in Piedmont Park, when we're talking about honoring the 240 young men from Atlanta, Georgia. Some of them Marines, some of them are Air Force, some of them are, and I met somebody from Doug yesterday too. Yeah. I told him, I said, if I didn't tell Tony, I told him to kill me about it. But he, and the crazy part about it, he knew me.
Yeah.
He was a prison guard at the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary when I was there.
Really?
I said, Lord have mercy. And he stopped me. He said, hey, bro, thank you for your service. Then he got up and he said, I know you from somewhere. And he said, you know, I used to work at the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary.
And then your lights came on at that point.
My lights came on because he knew that my last supervisor, which was Satterfield, David Satterfield, who was in the training office. Now this is a story that people used to tell me. I got put out of I got evicted from prison. They put me out. So because you know, God, that was only God, Tony. It was only God. We started a chapter of Vietnam Veterans of America in prison, and we had over 500 members. So you know that was veterans.
Right. Yes. Yes.
In the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. And we changed the landscape because of Vietnam Veterans of America and the things that we was allowed to do. We got opened up education opportunities for not just veterans, but for everybody that was in that prison.
Yep.
So they say, well, you didn't cause too much good trouble. You out of here. You know I wasn't gonna tell them no. Not with what I had gone through. You know, coming back from Vietnam as one of the wounded coming out of that era, I can relate to all of these people that coming up with disabilities, right? That the government is not addressing, because that's what was in the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. People with disability that was not being addressed, and it was PTSD. You got to think about it now. They didn't even recognize PTSD in this country until 1980. That was way after the Vietnam War was over.
Yep.
Now it is one of the most diagnosed conditions in the country, not just for mental conditions in the country, not just for veterans, but for people, period, because we understand what trauma can do to the psyche now. But then we got this president that taking away funding for treatment for mental illness.
Yeah.
Some kind of way, the 700,000 veterans in the state of Georgia and the 22 million across this nation need to wake up and realize one thing: we are that swing vote that can dictate any election we want to. If we stop being bamboozled, bullied, or bought. And I say bamboozled because you know you got all this misinformation. You finna say something, Tony.
But the add another element that has always been present: racial prejudice.
I was trying to get past that a little bit, so
but we
people,
can't. We
you're
can't.
absolutely right.
Because that is a part. It's not just part of the military. It's a part of the fiber of the United States. And so you're dealing with people who have mental problems with other than that, with that background.
With that background.
They you're looking at someone who's trying to deal with their challenges they face in the military, but they also have that prejudice, and that was something from birth. It was actually from birth. Particularly during that time, the attitude toward the races was, as they say, over the top.
Well, it was legal segregation.
Yeah,
just straight
yes,
up. That
yes.
was racism. It was legal in this country.
The law of the country.
The law of the country
that they were dealing with, and so all of a sudden, here comes this black man who's saying, "This is not truly the fiber of this country. This country is for everyone with equal opportunities." But it's hard. It was really hard for the citizenry to do anything about it because the governing body was there enforcing those rules. And they weren't even laws; they were just rules. On how to control the citizenry.
Now, Tony, what you pointed out, because you say it's just rules. I know too. Before I went into the military, I had never in my life sit at the table and ate with a white person.
Yeah.
But the first day I was in the military, I was commanded to do so.
Yes.
The first day, now I'm not talking about it took a week or two, a month or two. I'm talking about the first day I was at Fort Benning, Georgia. I was in a racial fight in the barracks because somebody called me the N-word.
Yeah.
And back then, that was a fighting word. Now they got us so messed up. It's a cliche that we use with each other. Racism has had an impact on us that we don't even recognize that it's had on us because we don't take it serious enough and challenge it. We like that was one of the things that our service did in the military. We had to challenge that every day in order for us to live together, learn together, and serve together. And we was young enough and flexible enough, some of us, to do it.
But the challenging part about that is we were raised under racism.
Yeah, we were raised.
We didn't know. We had no idea about the rights that we had. And then all of a sudden we were slowly being educated on our rights as citizens and how our rights have been used against us. And you go like, and so we go like, okay, we have this right, now let's exercise it. But then the challenge we were dealing with was a government who wasn't ready.
Well, let me say this. What wasn't ready was the citizenry.
Yeah, okay.
The government was ready because, you got to remember now, President Truman desegregated the military in 1948. That was a year after I was born, but it took them to 1954 to fully implement it because of the racism. They had two military, one white and one called colored.
Yeah, colored. It wasn't black, it was colored. We were colored.
It was colored folk.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret that got them upset. 60% of the whole U.S. military is colored.
Yeah.
And they got a problem with it.
Yes. Yeah.
And but so this is one of the things that I think that they are missing because they're talking about deploying the U.S. military against the people of this country. That means that my grandson, and I'm going to salute him right now, all them young people out there that are serving in the military, got to come against their own.
Exactly. Yes.
They're not going to do that, Tony. They just not gonna do that. That's gonna cause some issues with the military, within the military itself, because these young people done learn how to get along,
Yes.
how to live together, how to learn together, and how to serve together. And here come a monkey.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Lord,
Yeah.
let me stop
Yeah.
that, man. I'm not supposed to do that.
But-
Yeah, I got to
But
repent.
you bring up an interesting point that we were those of us who served during the Vietnam, we saw those laws and those rules fall
Fall.
and opening up opportunities
Like
for
never
people
before.
of color to progress.
To progress.
And we saw ourselves progressing.
And we progress. Listen, Tony, when I go out to the military post now, I see so
Yeah.
many young blacks and colored. I'm gonna say colored.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this here. I'm looking at. I'm saying, and some of them look just so young.
Yeah.
But they're captains and people that then came into the military and given a service
Yes.
like nobody ever thought they could do. Now here comes somebody like, well, let me say this here. One of the things I learned about the slave master, right? He always want free labor. He always want free labor. So what we're watching is the re-enslavement of America right now. It's more people of color in the penitentiary system in this country than it was when Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah.
And they building private prisons, Tony, at the rate that we don't even see. And you know what they're saying? We're doing it for the immigrants.
No.
It's a re-enslavement of America that's taking place as we talk, because they got our young people thinking it's a badge of honor to be arrested.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, how can you... Somebody help me. Somebody help me, because I'm getting... I mean, the older I get, the more confused I get about this stuff, because we're watching it, Tony, like you say, we watch racism and all that, them bars and restrictions fall during our lifetime. Now we're watching our children. We at first we thought we were watching our children being taking advantage of the opportunities. Like I remember when you went to see your son graduate from college. You know, you was beaming you were beaming everywhere, Tony, because you recognized that he took advantage of the opportunities that he got. That resulted from your service.
Yeah.
See, and that's what we need people to understand about the Camp Lujune stuff. We ignoring how they treating these brothers right now and their families.
Yeah.
Because just like every generation, the family is connected to the person that's serving in the military. Every day. Every day. That's family. That family member. Now they reached the point where they got an all volunteer army, all volunteer military, period. And Tony, the deployments that these young people had to endure is almost criminal, because it's like they got this small military with all the technology right now. They talking about the strike on Israel, like, oh well, it was annihilated. They can't say that. They don't know how what happened there. Because the only way they're going to know that, they're going to have to put boots on the ground and send them up in there. And I'm going to tell you something. The fighting ain't stopped. The truth ain't holding. They saying it's holding, but then they got people attacking military bases right now. Right this minute, they got military bases where our young people are being attacked because of this man's bully. Stuff with the military now. He's using the military, and using our tax money to do stuff that we know that Patrick Henry told us about. Taxation without representation is no longer accepted, and that's what we need all veterans in this state to recognize. One thing: all of us ain't been bamboozled. That means all of us ain't racist. All of us ain't been bullied. We ain't scared. All of us ain't been bought because we ain't got our disabilities. They ain't gave all of us our right for disabilities. So we need to stand up right now, because this is the time for us to come together with veterans in our communities and stand up against these bullies in the White House. And I mean, not only is he a bully, he got a person running for Senate in the state of Georgia saying he's a mega warrior. Do we need a mega warrior as our next senator? The mega stuff is messed up. The tariffs, the cuts, the prices of living going up. Where the Democrats? Where they campaigning at?
Yep.
They ain't even talking to veteran groups because, you know what? I'm glad I ain't no Democrat. You know, guys, I'd be really upset. I'm an independent, but you know, I vote mostly Democrats because I'm doing the lesser of the two evils. I can't. The second George Bush I wouldn't vote for. The first one I did. I did. I voted for his daddy because he was a veteran, and he stood up like a veteran.
Yep.
You know, but what we got up there in the White House right now, we got a coward that's using our military in a way that it shouldn't be used. And he's separating, he's causing division in this country that's going to cause it to collapse if we don't stand up. If veterans don't come together, if we don't stand up and use our vote, because right now we got an opportunity to elect a senator, right? And a large number of the Georgia General Assembly. General Assembly, where we can, and we got a chance to get ready to elect the next governor. A governor that we should be saying, listen, we want them automatic weapons out of the streets, and we need to elect somebody that got the heart to do it, got the muscles in their morality to stand up against the National Rifle Association, and all these folks that are scared of each other. You know, I mean, that's what it is. It done caused so much fear. Man, America is armed like you ain't never seen. Everybody got a gun.
Yes.
And some of these people that got guns, bro,
have no business even thinking gun, much less having one at their disposal.
I don't need no gun.
Yes.
Because I use it, and that, you know, that PTSD take over. I do some dirty stuff out there. It's crazy. We got too many people with mental problems with guns. And then we got people that ain't got no mental problem that's not responsible for the guns they got.
Yeah.
So we need sensible gun control laws in this country. Tony, when you was in the military, when I was in the military, you had a weapon, you was responsible for it.
Yes.
Somebody got your weapon and did something with it, you was going to be responsible for it. It's just like it is today. Why do we have people in civilian life walking around with a pistol hanging out their pocket when they ain't got no business with it? Because the governor that we have. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like some of the things that Brian Kemp did. I mean, I've been in his presence several times, and I think he's a good person. But he's caught up in that Republican stuff.
Yes.
Because he lied about he wasn't going to support Trump. And Trump talked him down and bullied him, came back and supported him like the rest of these Republicans that call themselves conservatives. They're not conservatives, because if they was conservatives, they wouldn't be afraid to stand up against him blowing up the budget. He's blowing up the budget like ain't never been blown before. And they just running to try to get it done. And know what they're doing? They're not doing what the government is designed to do for the people, because it's supposed for all the people. Billionaires, 2% of the population, controls 90% of the wealth in this country, and we keep letting them get away with it. We need to look back at what Dr. King, Gandhi, and Jesus Christ did. We need to look back at what they showed us how to do. Stop cooperating with it.
Yes.
We don't have to be violent. You know, we just stop cooperating with it. Dr. King took nonviolence to a new level in this country and brought it to reckoning. I don't know what we doing today, because we not only we caving into oppression, we going out getting locked up for nothing. For nothing. We letting them enslave us again.
Yes, yeah. It's one of those. It appears to be. No, it is. It's one of those situations where we are just choosing not to require the government to do what it is designed to do. But the part of that challenge is he has an entire party that's backing everything he does.
Well,
and
see,
so
now,
not only are you fighting the stuff that he's putting out there, but you're also fighting those people in his party that are encouraging him and that are reinforcing his ability to do the crap that he's doing.
You know, Tony, you remember something that Booker T. Washington said, "Let no man drag you so low as to hate him."
Right.
See, and that's what we done did. We done let them folks drug us so low. We so filled with hate and anger. We go out and do dumb stuff.
Yes.
We go out and do dumb stuff. We got to get back to what the Bible and the Word of God teaches us. We got to be able to love our enemy. Because see, what that does, it clears your head. It gives you a smoother way of looking at stuff. Because when you're angry, you're going to hate what make you angry.
Yes, yes.
You're going to hate what make you angry. And when you are angry, you do things that you would normally do.
Yes, because you allow all your logic and reasoning and common sense to go out the window because you're seeking revenge for what you're seeing. Mm-hmm. And the scary part of that is we're only looking at what is happening now, and actually what that party and he are doing is laying the groundwork for the future.
Yes.
It's not just right now. All of this is laying the groundwork for the stuff that they are planning to do in the future. They're just giving us a glimpse. We're going to let you see this and everything, but the workings that are going on in the background are the things that we really need to be focused on.
But you know, Tony,
magic word, distraction.
Distraction.
Yep.
And one of the things that we got to always keep in mind what the word tells us. A rich man gonna have a harder time getting into the kingdom than an elephant would do going through the eye of a needle.
Yeah.
See, what we done got caught up in idolatry. You know, we done start valuing things over people. See, you know, we used to talk about how it was in our neighborhood when we were growing up. You know, we had love in that neighborhood because, listen, man, we be out in the streets playing. Miss Rose is gonna look up if you start regular. What are y'all doing out there?
Yep.
You know, and I'm gonna tell you something. Coach Baker used to do stuff like this. Huh? You get mad, he get the gloves. He make you fight till you finish, then make you shake hands and walk off.
Yep.
Finish it right now.
Yep.
He make you fight till you tired. You fight till you tired.
Yep.
and make you shake hands and get it over with.
Yep.
Make you talk about why are you doing this? Why are you upset? Right now, we're not letting the teachers teach our children because you say something to a child, I'm going to school and tell you and talk to my child in any kind of way when your child need to be taught.
Yeah.
Discipline, manners, morality, and the lack of fear.
Yeah.
The lack of fear. You know, right now we got them so scared. 14-year-olds walking around with guns killing each other, Tony. In our hometown.
Yes.
See, that's what they got to realize when we talk about we're going to honor these young men that gave their lives by not just building a memorial in the park, but we're going into their neighborhoods, we're going into their communities with resources and knowledge that are going to change the landscape. Because we know what? They don't know. We were challenging the preachers. We're going to challenge these corporations to put resources back in the community because this guy in the White House taking them out. He killing Snap.
Yes.
He want to mess with Social Security. I mean, not to think about VA, then that's what veterans need to be upset about enough to start standing together and say, whoa, wait a minute, bro. You know what kind of service. You don't know what kind of service we render, but the service we render got us messed up.
Yeah.
You promised us health care. This country promised us that they would take care of us and our dependents if we born the burden of war.
Right.
And we did it, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we stood up for it. And they created benefits for us for this service. Why is it so hard for these 250 veterans that's homeless to get the home that they ain't got to have no down payment with? I can't understand that. You got a benefit where you get home with no down payment, but what it is, Tony, they didn't address the issues that they had, so they ain't well.
Mm-hmm.
They're not equipped to take advantage of the opportunities that they have served to create. And the rest of us just going on like, well, it ain't none of me.
Going along to get along.
Yeah, we going along together. Well, it ain't none of me.
Yeah.
I ain't got to think about the brother over there not getting his benefits. He ain't getting his stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care, man. They ain't gonna take my stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we got to get away from that self-centered fear. And that's what it is. We scared that if we stand up, they're going to take something from us. They can't take nothing that we don't have, Tony.
Yep.
They can't take nothing that they don't have. Like, we don't have no reason. I remember when I was messed up, Tony, I did have something to realize not to plead guilty. Right? You know, I mean, they tell me, I don't know, I couldn't, no. Yeah, we caught you coming out. Yeah, I don't know them folks. Right now, they got our young people killing each other for little or nothing.
Yeah.
And go cop out and go to jail. Filling up the prison system.
Yeah.
And you know what? The old slaves applauding the enslavement of the new slaves because they're scared of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they need to arrest them. They need to get them out of the streets. Well, you know, don't let them go in the street. They're your children.
Yes.
You know, I can remember when my mama would come to the porch and say, Elson, come out there. Listen, they start playing with me because they know the next time my mama coming up the street, she got rollers in her hair and a belt in her hand. And she done told me, it's time to come in the house.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's time for you to do what your chores. You know, I didn't have, listen, I had training to make me respect each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had training to make me care about my life. Not be afraid for it, but care about it. So I don't go out there disrespecting nobody. My daddy used to tell me, boy, if you want respect, you need to give it. And that's what you better do because you represent me. You know? And so I had to deal with that because my daddy he wouldn't whoop me, but he'd get me whooped, man. He'd tell my mama, he put my mama on me. She didn't have no problem with jumping. So we got to get back to a concern that we had when we was in segregation.
Yeah.
You know, I think integration is great, and I'm not ready to turn back from it. But, I mean, we done lost that morality, that love that we had when we was in segregated communities. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to say this, and I might be wrong, and somebody can correct me. You know, when you come out of the house with an attitude, you know, you're going to keep that attitude until somebody gets you to change it. That was what the military did for a lot of white boys, right? Mm-hmm. They realized that the black didn't rub off on them, you know. They realized that you weren't inferior to them, you know, that you could do air traffic control, right?
Yeah.
You know, I could actually be a paratrooper. Yeah. I could actually be a infantry combat soldier, and fought just alongside them. Mm-hmm. I had their back like they had mine. We had to learn that, Tony, and that's what we're losing in civil society. I mean, you can still see it in the military. You know, them young people get along good, but outside of the military, we got a toxic, bad attitude toward each other. It's just bad. Mm-hmm. And we got people that take that bad, toxic attitude and put it into words. You know, the tongue has the power. You can speak life or death. And when you're always speaking death, you know, that's hate, animosity, calling people out of their name, you know, demonizing them. That's speaking death. You're speaking hate into the community. You're speaking hate into the people that you're talking to and talking about. You're not encouraging them to change. You're not encouraging them to get along. Like we really can all get along. I've been in a predicament where, and you've been in a predicament, and every veteran I know been in a predicament where they had to get along.
Yeah.
They had to work together. They had to serve together. They had to eat together. They had to sleep together. You know, and they did it in a way. To look at the U.S. military now.
Yeah.
It's something to see.
Yeah.
To see these young people, how they getting along. You know, and then they done got it to the point where they causing them to turn against each other.
That what you're saying is something really that the public doesn't see.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see how the military is operating these days. Mm-hmm. And especially right now with this current party that's running the government, because they removed all of those generals that were in charge.
That was a color.
Yeah.
That showed that within itself should have signaled to people, say, oh, wait a minute, bro.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then they going through the government with the same attitude. That's why they want to cut the government so that they can choose who gonna be in charge of the government resources.
Yes.
What people gonna get what they need in the community. When it's enough, Tony, for everybody.
Yep.
I mean, listen, I watched Basil.
You have greed leading the government.
Yeah, greed.
You know, it's all about for themselves. Basically, you know, the presidential family. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
he wants all of that. He wants to control, and he wants to make those decisions, regardless of what is best for the country. He's only looking at what's best for him.
For him and his.
And his.
And what makes it so sad, he done got the rest of these clammish, selfish billionaires around him that's going along with him.
Yes.
Because they control the economy of this country, Tony. They control that. Now they want to do what? They want to cut all the programs for the people that work for them and help make them billionaires.
Yes.
Why they shoot rockets up in the sky that bust before they get out of the ground, off the thing.
Yeah.
But that's okay. They ain't wasting no money with it. They ain't saying nothing about that waste.
No, that's not a waste. That's in their view, it's not a waste.
Yeah.
The idea of starving people is feeding starving people is a waste.
Is a waste.
They don't see the fact that we raise more food than we can eat, but then not sharing it is a waste.
It's a waste.
But but they see it as, if I feed them, then I'm wasting my resources. You know, it's
and we throw away more food. You said something.
Yes.
We throw away more food in this country than we
can eat.
eat.
They raise more food than we can eat.
They raise more food than we can eat. And they got prices on the food that got some people right now can't afford to eat.
Yes.
They can't afford to eat. See, that's why when you start looking at the month of Marines and what they had to go through, you know, that's why I want to salute all them brothers Marines, all my brothers and sisters Marines. You know, we appreciate what you done been through and what you're doing, what you're still doing, right?
Yeah.
What they're still doing. Because they're still working in the community, trying to make people aware of this stuff. But I'm going to say this here. All of y'all's got to come together. Listen, we can't just spend our time and resources trying to make people understand us. We got to start taking care of our community.
Yes.
Because see, the way these billionaires done created lack in our community is causing the re-enslavement of our community. And we can't look away from it and act like we don't know no better. It is when you start looking at you go down to look at some of the newspapers and look at the court systems, man, they're full of young people going to court for petty crimes. And you got a lot of them in there, what they do, I'm talking about petty crime now. You know, you got the violent crimes there. But you know, most of the people that are incarcerated in this country are not incarcerated for violent crimes. They're incarcerated for economic crimes. Then they can't even afford They make bail.
Yeah.
And what they do, they take P. Diddy's case, and buddy, they make us look like savages. But then when Trump and them guys were doing it, they concealed it.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
they concealed it. The fact that this man has been convicted, the judge said rape.
Yes.
We know he was convicted of assault. We know he's been convicted of embezzling, fraud. But now he's up there taking people
Yes.
and pardoning all of the violent people that attacked our government. And he pardoned everybody he want to pardon, and trying to lock up poor immigrants
Yeah.
who's on the job.
Put them out of the country.
On the job.
Yeah.
They're on the job. They're working. They
Yeah.
doing jobs that ain't no black job like that. we ain't gonna do certain things because we not picking cotton no more. I done pick cotton, but they ain't picking no more.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to stop letting these people separate us first. That's the first thing we got to do. See, we done got to a point where they got us. Yeah, they shouldn't be here.
Oh yeah. They not Americans. They don't need to be in our country. It's in our country.
Yeah.
What about your wife?
Yeah. You
know,
Yeah.
She said, I know.
But see, the whole thing, Tony, you're right, and then we have to keep laughing at it because if
Yeah.
you don't, you get mad with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we can't afford to get mad with it because you know what? The word says be slow to anger.
Yeah.
Be slow to anger because
You get angry, logic and reasoning goes out the window.
and then you ain't gonna be able to work with people. See, one of the
Yeah.
things that I can say, we are able to work with all people in our community, and that's what we're gonna be doing in these community centers.
Yeah.
And honoring the guys that got killed for the freedom that we enjoy every day. See, a lot of people done forgot what they died for,
Oh yeah.
what they sacrificed their lives for. These young people, listen, because I was there with them, Tony. These young people believed what they were doing was right and was for the country, for the betterment of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got killed, they sent them home with a box and the flag over the casket and buried, and they ain't heard nothing else from them since. Their families were denied benefits, and the veterans that served with them denied benefits. Tony, listen, I was wounded in 1968. I was not service connected to 1984. Not service connected. And what was I doing all during that time? I was mentally decomposed. I was doing some crazy stuff, Tony. I mean, I repent, but God Almighty, it was only by the grace of God that I lived through it. Because a lot of people that were doing what I was doing,
Oh yes.
they were killed coming out of banks, trying to get away from the police when they ran down on them. Or they OD'd. Drugs. You know, you got to understand.
Yeah.
It was
Crack.
no drugs in Atlanta, Georgia like that until we came back
Yeah.
from Vietnam, Tony.
Crack cocaine.
Well, before
Good.
crack, it was heroin.
Oh yes.
That's what we brought to the community, heroin.
Heroin.
But it was so expensive, Tony, that they couldn't addict the whole community the way they do with crack.
Yeah.
We had the cocaine and the heroin, but then you had to have money to do that. That's why I was robbing banks. Oh, okay, Lord. That's why I was doing what I was doing, because I had to survive in the jungle, and that's what kind of mindset that PTSD gives you. It gives you a do or die kind of perspective, right? Don't care about nothing else but that. And that's that drug epidemic that's killing our community today was started during the Vietnam War. Think about it, Tony.
Yeah,
You didn't see no drugs in our streets when we was growing up
no.
like that, man.
No.
You know, it wasn't it just wasn't there. You know, the few people that were dealing with drugs was entertainers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they were the only one that could afford it.
Yeah.
The rest
Every
of-
once in a while you heard the term reefer.
Yeah.
But that was it. But those were far and few in between.
I didn't know what it looked like.
Yeah.
I got to Vietnam, I didn't know what they were talking
Yeah.
about, man. Because I'm gonna tell you a little secret, man. Washington High. I lived on Drummond Street. Washington High. I could go to Washington High and not go in no Drummond Street and not going down Hunter Street, right, which is MLK. Because my mama used to tell me, you better not come down Hunter Street when you coming home.
Mm-hmm.
Why? She didn't want me seeing the pimps and the players.
Yes.
Because she realized then that, you know, you being a kid, I was going to be attracted by the bling.
Yes.
And that was the only bling that I could see right then, because they didn't have no social media and all that kind of stuff. I go down Hunter Street and see all them pimps and players in the cars, man.
They driving them Cadillacs with loaded, all that glitz and glamour on it.
And I remember one time my mama caught me on Hunter Street down the train. She got out the car and beat me till I got I told you, boy, don't come down Hunter Street. Because see what, they was concerned, Tony, about what we saw and what we heard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we are missing now. Parents that ain't concerned about what their children see and what they hear.
Yeah. But it's hard when children are raising
children. Yeah.
You know, they never had discipline. So how can you teach discipline to your kids when you were never disciplined?
Well, see, I'm gonna tell you something. I think that's the problem with the church.
Mm-hmm.
I do. You know, we know that this done developing. We know that right now, at least 40%, 45% of the households in our country are single-parent households, if not more. You know, if not more. And they got all these big churches. The church is so big, the preacher can't know everybody. I don't understand that. I went to Mount Moriah. It wasn't no big church, but, you know, Creasy couldn't know everybody in the church. It was just big enough. It wasn't so big that you got, he needed to buy airplanes and, you know, and not tend to his flock. See, one of the things that preachers don't do now, they don't show up at the congregation house.
No.
You know, I can remember my granddaddy when I was a little kid. You miss church on Sunday, he's coming to your house on Monday.
Yep.
He coming to see about why you ain't in church.
Yeah.
What you need, what's going on, you sick, what's they took care of their flock. And I can remember people, you know, the people that were doing bad things, they see my granddaddy coming, they straighten up. They clean up the environment so that he wouldn't see it. You know, now they cuss the preacher out.
Yeah.
Or they might tell him, come on in, preacher, guys, let me show you this.
Yeah.
Okay, I ain't gonna do that. But the preachers need to preach outside the church.
Yeah.
You know, they need to spend some time in the communities around the churches, that these big old nice pretty churches that they got. They need to go into the communities around the church and speak with the people.
Yep.
Let the people know that there is a God that cares for them. And if they keep his word, and then they need to talk about, if we want to change our direction, the trajectory of our families, we need to teach people how to be forgiving and how to repent. How to be forgiving and how to repent. Because, see, I got whoopings, and my grandmama was the first one to start whooping me, and she told me, she said, baby, I wouldn't whoop you if you did what I told you to do.
Exactly.
So I had to learn to be slick. No, I'm just no, I had to listen. I had to, if I was gonna do something wrong, I was gonna keep it away from them. Right? You know, I was gonna keep it away from them. I know one time I did something wrong in Washington High School. I wasn't smoking now. None of me. I was the chi-chi man, right? I was watching, and Mr. Rice called us. He told Mama that I was chi-chiing, that I wasn't smoking. She said, well, he wasn't smoking, but he was the chi-chi man. I got a whooping, man. Like, I think every time she looked at me. She said, you go to school to learn. Mm-hmm. You're not going to school to hang out with your little buddies in the bathroom that's smoking. Every time she looked at me, I don't want to go to school no more. I don't want to have nobody calling me about what you ain't doing in school, Nelson.
Yep.
See, we need parents that can't do that to ask for help. They need to ask for help, and the preacher need to be the one that's helping them. You know, the preacher. Well, the teacher, the teachers are guided by the school rules now, so they can't spank you. They can't discipline you.
Yeah.
They charge you with assault. They charge the teacher with assault if they straighten up the student. See, that's a part of the community help that parents don't have now.
Right.
You know, because when I was in school,
Yes, when we were in school,
you gonna get a whooping at school.
That's it. That's it. If you were sent to the gym, you knew. You know.
Yeah, you done messed up.
Coach was standing there with the paddle.
And then you know what else too? Your mama gonna know it too.
Oh yeah, yeah. It didn't stop at the school. It went home with you.
It went home with you.
Yeah.
And you learn how to respect the schools. You learn that you go in the school classroom to learn. Yeah. Now they got to go get laws to stop the kids from having a cell phone in class.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even need no phone in class, period. The parents should have that kind of control over. You know, that we done got so caught up into things.
Yeah.
To these conveniences. Until my child got to have the phone because I might want to get in touch with him. He's in school. Let the teacher teach him. Let the teacher teach him.
Come to the school.
Come to the school.
Come to the school. That's what our parents did.
And I didn't want to see my mama coming to the school because if she did, I had a problem. I had a problem, bro.
Yep.
So my mama came to Washington House one time. That was enough. You know, I lost my little, you know, weekly allowance and couldn't go to the movies. You know, for a whole month. Probably was longer than that. You know, when you're young, time pass slow. It just get to be passing fast when you get to be old. You know, it just time pass. But I think it was a whole month I was on punishment for that one incident, and I didn't. You know, I guess when I was doing it, I thought I would just support my little buddies. I wasn't smoking. I knew I wasn't going to go that far. But I didn't understand the complicity of being a part of their misconduct. Mm-hmm. So, but I learned. I learned really quick that I was not to be a part of somebody else's misconduct. You step out of line, bro, I'm going to pull you back in line so you'll know right from wrong.
Yes.
You know, you'll know, and I had this kind of split parenting. My daddy tell me, I better stand up, and you know, my mama tell me I better not fight in school. My daddy tell me, you better let nobody take my money no more. Because next time somebody take my money from you, you come home, you need to have a black eye, and one of your teeth need to be knocked out. Because you better fight. Because, you know, don't come home and tell me about somebody took my money. So he was telling me then, stand up to bullies. Mm-hmm. Don't let no bully tell you what to do. You do what I tell you to do. You go to school, you learn. Mm-hmm. You pay attention. You obey the school rules. You know, and I was a school patrol. I had to be. after get busted.
That is what happens a lot of times. Those classmates of ours who were troublemakers became the people who were responsible for somebody who steps out of line. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden now they're there to remind you to follow the rules. Mm-hmm. And we learn from watching our classmates and everything. Yes. And you go like, okay. And then you realize they're getting benefits from being a school patrol.
Yeah, I got on the school patrol, man. I you know, to show my parents that listen, I ain't gonna do that no more, and I'm gonna watch it for other kids, and we'll make sure that they don't do it, right? Yes. It's something when we don't support our school systems. Yeah. Our churches don't support our family system like they used to. And
we've lost our community.
We lost our community. And we got to get it back. Yeah. And you know what? We're going to get it back with the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial. We're going to take Atlanta back to when it was peaceful again, loving again. You know, because right now, we got kids coming out of the house with attitudes. They come out the house with attitudes. They fighting each other about nothing. About nothing. You can't have a 16-year-old party without somebody getting killed.
But not just any party. It is at the point now, not just teenagers, any party.
Any party.
It's, any the party. Proliferation of guns.
Yeah, proliferation of guns. And the only way we're going to do away with that is veterans got to come together.
Yeah.
like we call this is called a unity for veterans and our communities to come together. First of all, just to acknowledge and recognize and represent and honor our collective and individual sacrifices that we made for the country and the people in this country, so that we can all have a better life. That's what it was all about. That we can all have a better life. But we done got to a point where you got something, I want to take it. You know, if I don't want to take it, I'm jealous of you. I'm envious of you, what you got, and I might have more. You see them there? I might even have more.
Yeah.
But I'm so caught up on what you got.
You can't appreciate what you have.
I can't appreciate what I got. You know, I'm not satisfied with what I got, because idolatry is a spirit that we got to understand. Putting things over people.
Yeah.
When we start putting things over people, we'll look at this current government that we got in the country right now and act like we don't know what to do to bring it down, to change it.
Yeah.
All we got to do is Dr. King told us how to do that. Stop cooperating with it.
Yep.
Can't nobody make you do nothing if you just don't do it. They can't beat you. They can't beat all of us and make us go to work. You know, they can't beat all of us and make us go shopping at Walmart. If all of us decided, well, I ain't going to Walmart no more, until Walmart changes some of his policies. First of all, I don't want to be going into Walmart and Walmart letting people walk in there with guns. That's something that we got to tell them. Yeah. If you don't stop people from coming in your stores with guns, I'm not coming in there. I'm at Kroger. If you don't stop people from coming on your property with guns, I'm not coming in there. Because they can do what the government... Listen, businesses have the authority to restrict you from coming in their premises with a gun. Don't care what the outside say. They can have no weapons allowed in this facility. And that's what we got to start telling these businesses. Listen, no weapons allowed, or we ain't coming.
Yep.
We ain't gonna spend no money.
Well, we got to
Just go and close that, Tony, because this.
We hope you've enjoyed our conversation this week. But we're here every Saturday from 4 to 5 o'clock. Veterans talking about things, and veterans talking about things in our community. So,
and coming up with conditions to address it.
We're coming up with answers. And if you've got answers, join us. Call in, show up. We'll have a seat for you right here to voice your opinion. So until next Saturday at 4 o'clock, we'll see you here, veterans talking veterans about veteran things in their community. See you next week.
Yes.